Hello and welcome. After about a month since it was announced that a new patch is coming, it's finally here and open for testing. We've got fishing, crossbow units, Unreal Engine 5, and loads more. I'm really excited to talk about all of this, so let's dive right in. Firstly, if you want to test out the new patch for yourself, then you can follow these instructions. I won't go into too much detail because they're all in the patch notes, but do note that it's recommended to make a backup of your save files before switching to the beta version, just in case. So to do that, simply go here, replace your username with whatever it is for you, and back up the files in that folder. The update itself is almost 4.5 gig and it shouldn't take too long to download. So what have we got? Well, to start with, let's talk about the Manor Lords visual glow up. Since Unreal Engine 4 no longer has official support, the game was ported to Unreal Engine 5. As it mentions in the patch notes, this wasn't a seamless transition and had a lot of bugs, and every single button needed to be manually fixed. But it does allow the game to be much more future proof and allows new features to be added in the future. Next, we have the hugely anticipated new feature, fishing. A new addition to possible food resources, fishing ponds may now randomly spawn on the map as a shoal of fish resource node. This new resource also comes with the fisherman's hut, which of course allows you to gather fish from the nearby node. Be aware that ponds will freeze over winter, and unless you have the winter fishing development point, you'll lose access to fish until it thaws. Fish only multiply in the spring months, similar to how wild animals work, and can be overfished, so do be careful with that as well. Also, if there's a drought, ponds will shrink to 50% of the max capacity. I'm really excited to experiment with fishing and keep an eye out for an upcoming fishing guide once I've dived deeper into this and had a chance to play through and give it some testing. Next, we have a highly requested feature, the trade overview. This is definitely a great quality of life update to allow you to see exactly what you're importing and exporting and gives a full list of transactions for each region. It also shows you your overall trade balance, which I think is a great addition as well. And next we have not just one new food resource, but we have two. We have a butcher's workshop, which can be added as an artisan backyard extension, allowing you to make sausages from meat and salt, which comes from the newly added salt deposit, which we'll get into shortly. I'm really glad that they've added more food variety, and I'll definitely try some new builds experimenting with this. Now let's talk about something else that they've added, food spoilage. Again, from the discussion I've seen on Discord, this was another highly requested feature and definitely counters the issue of having far too much food that you can just leave it to pile up with no consequence, taking away from the realism perspective that the game is leaning into. Now both food and some crops will begin to spoil, with each food having different spoilage rates, for example fish spoiling faster than bread. By combining meat and salt into sausages, that also significantly reduces the spoilage rate. Also worth noting that this process creates two sausages, so hopefully this is an efficient way to maintain food levels as well. I'm definitely excited to see how this plays out in my next playthrough, and hope that our happy citizens opt for the food that's most likely to spoil first as well, so that we can reduce wastage. Again, I'll make more detailed videos on this topic in the future, so don't miss those. This patch also includes the ability to set production limits, which I'm really pleased with. Too often, you'd accidentally overproduce a certain item and end up burning through planks in the blink of an eye, so I'm really glad that this allows us to be a bit more specific and nuanced with our gameplay. From the combat perspective, we have crossbows and crossbow units, with crossbows being developed in the bowyer's workshop and used to equip the crossbow militia. There's also a new professional merc unit called the Huntsman, which is useful for anyone looking to spend some extra cash on units or going for the mercenary captain achievement. Diving further into the full changelog, there are a few interesting things that I want to pick out that we haven't discussed yet. Deposit spawns have changed slightly, although the description is a little bit confusing. Advanced skinning now also doubles the meat produced by the butchers as well, since they can get meat from surplus livestock. Bandit camp spawns are now more randomized and should avoid spawning on top of the newly created ponds. I'm curious how this affects the early game where people were trying to claim a lot of camps early on. I don't see any fixes mentioned regarding the Baron hiring all of the mercenaries and them never coming back, which for me has been an issue on my Mercs only playthrough. I think this is a bit of a shame, but I will attempt another Mercs only playthrough soon, so do keep an eye out for that coming out as well. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the content of this patch and I'm excited to delve deeper, experiment with the new features and resources, and see how different the game looks and feels. And also, thank you, Greg, for working so hard on these things. I know it's impossible to please everyone, but do keep up the great work and make sure you take a nice break once this is fully released. I hope to have more Manor Lords videos coming out very soon, so do keep an eye out. And as always, see you in the next one.